Hey, I'm Kevin Chang, a 15-year construction veteran turned construction tech entrepreneur. I started LinkedField. We are a construction remote staffing agency. If you'd like any of these stories or have any feedback, leave us a comment or send us a note through our email. In October, construction start fell 7%. There's a couple of sectors that truly fell quite a bit. And these are the non-building and the residential. 32% and 1% kind of relatively in terms of the overall sector. Counterintuitively, non-residential building starts kind of increased 8% in October. This increase in actuality was due to 3 mega projects that happened in this kind of commercial space. So if you take those 3 out, the 7% decrease in construction start should be probably a little bit more grim, a little more negative than that. How are we comparing to last year? It's actually worse than last year. So everyone's probably feeling this year. Jobs are harder to come by compared to last year's. The data is showing that too. Now, the biggest kind of couple reasons that this drop has been attributed to high interest rate and tight financials, meaning that these projects are being delayed. They're not necessarily being canceled outright. They're just holding on these projects and waiting until the market conditions turn better. The Dodge Construction Index actually went ahead and stated that we're going to see an uptick, an increase in 2024. So they're actually projecting that the market's going to kind of come out of a recession-like environment and actually do good in 2024. We'll have to see if they're right. Current trends is definitely not showing that. Let me know in the comments if you feel like you agree or disagree. But I believe that we're past the point of no return in preserving this construction building knowledge that we have as an industry. Reverse mentorships actually bridge generational gaps. If you're not familiar with this concept, it's basically pairing up old-timer employees with new employees, and they can teach each other the skills that they don't have. So the old-timers lack kind of maybe innovation or the latest tech, and these younger generations can help them bridge that gap. And then vice versa, these younger generations can gain kind of all the decades of experience these older generations have. This strategy, although, it's great, I actually honestly think this idea is a little too late to help dig us out of this huge kind of knowledge gap hole that we're already in. This is a problem when I first joined the construction industry over 15 years ago. We're already knee deep into this problem where people with this knowledge has already left the industry. We have a job that's come back quite a bit onto our job board on our LinkedField website, and it is change order, compile, and review. Now, this specific job opportunity, fully remote, actually requires somebody that has what we call expert level experience. So, someone with 5-10 years of experience dealing with change orders, knowing how to review them, make sure they're entitled, check it against contracts, and, interact with subcontractors to make sure that the change order that we're going to be compiling for our customer is valid to be sent over to the owner for approval. And someone with hospital experience would actually be a huge plus. Not required, but huge plus. If you are someone with that experience or that caliber working in construction with 5 to 7 years of construction experience dealing with change orders, please check out our website for this opportunity. Good luck. There's 500,000 open construction jobs waiting to be filled. I thought I'd highlight an article that calls out 8 of these tech tools that help and hire construction workers. Most of these tools are all highly focused on the blue collar side, which is great. But since most of my subscribers and listeners are white collar, I went ahead and found these. In addition to LinkedField's job board, go check out these 3 that I found for you and see if you can find a job on there. First one is the AGC of America's job board, then the constructionjobs.com, and then the I Hire Construction website. One thing that I did notice about all of these 8 is there weren't many, if any, job openings that offer flexible work arrangements or remote work. This is leaving a huge pool of very talented, qualified people out of this group. And that's why at LinkedField, our mission is to bring more flexible work opportunities to the construction industry. So if this resonates with you, go check out our website and sign up for a newsletter and join our mission. A construction design startup, Snaptrude, recently raised $14 million to transform the design collaboration. They're trying to build an all-in-one tool for collaboration between architects, designers, owners, and general contractors. They're trying to build a Figma for construction. But it was basically a tool that's going to allow all these different stakeholders to work very collaboratively on a document. So if you guys are familiar with Google Docs, right? Everyone collaborate. Think that, but for a 3D model, like a Revit or a AutoCAD model. You can go in there, all work on that same model, cloud-based, very collaborative, and it's supposed to help bring everyone together. Keep an eye out on this technology. They're actually growing pretty big. If you guys are currently in pre-construction or in design phase, this is actually a tool you guys should probably look at. Been reporting quite a bit on is the infrastructure law that was passed in early 2021, that $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, right? What has been transpiring the last 2 years, it's actually trickled down to 40,000 projects that are funded by this law. What those 40,000 projects really mean is those jobs also create additional work opportunities. And those work opportunities ultimately added to the overall 400,000 or 500,000 job openings that we're trying to fill. So obviously this act has done part of its job of jumpstarting the economy. So it's adding more job opportunity across the industry. That's great. The money's trickling down, more money will be trickling down, and it's actually hitting projects that are starting. What type of projects are these? So an example where that money has trickled down to is actually manufacturing. How is manufacturing linked to infrastructure? Since this $1.2 trillion infrastructure law has a section that focuses on improving passenger and freight transportation, industries such as steel or various other material suppliers that supply raw materials or products to the transportation industry, they'll see an increased activity. With transportation industry kind of getting some of this money, this also means communications, like any infrastructure that supports 5G and EV stations. They would also see this increased demand from this money trickling down. People are actually saying this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity if you're a contractor playing in the manufacturing world. This is kind of the first time in decades that this country has really tried to bring manufacturing back stateside. Overall construction market is actually down, but I just mentioned infrastructure is kind of going up. This infrastructure money, $1.2 trillion, goes into government projects, right? And we know total construction includes public and private. So I've reported before that total construction actually has gone down. And this isn't to take away what this $1.2 trillion infrastructure law has done for the industry. It has helped it. But what really needs to happen for the total construction to do better is actually a change in the interest rates. To really bring more work in the private side and bring the total construction up, we really need to see more construction starts. And for construction to start, we need to see decrease in interest rates. Virginia Tech wins $450,000 to transform modular workforce development. They're basically given this grant to kind of figure out a new model to bring affordable and efficient construction building methods to build more housing in areas that are traditionally more rural. This was interesting to me because I've talked about how we can rethink project management similar to what prefab did for traditional stick build construction. You take traditional stick build and you pull components of it that make sense to prefab and offsite to be done more safely, cheaper, and more efficiently. Now in construction project management, can we do something similar to prefab? We call it pre-work project management task ahead of time. This article doesn't specifically say that they are going to form a workforce to build this modular construction project using remote workers, but they have an open rec. I'm going to reach out to them. So sign up to our newsletter if you're interested in how that goes. Office construction may never return to pre-pandemic levels. I would actually reword that by saying it'll never look the same. The way we used to build office buildings has been changed forever. And COVID was the catalyst to that change. In the past, we judge a construction commercial sector as being strong if there's a lot of new construction starts, right? New buildings. They don't really think too much or give too much credit to the remodeling or renovation of existing buildings. I actually think now we're going to see the inverse of that for the next 5-10 years. We're not going to be building as much new buildings. We're going to see a lot more what they call alteration starts, and then rearranging different parts of it for new needs. So a lot of these office buildings that we've been spending decades building and designing all needs to be altered in some way. So for the next 5-10 years, I'll make a prediction. Construction office work will actually surpass pre-pandemic levels, except the type of projects will look different. You're going to have more renovations than you have new construction office buildings. Workers filing a claim against their employers for unfair labor practices rose 10%. Union petitions, so union companies petitioning for kind of non-compliance, rose 3%. So overall, unions and workforces are voicing kind of their opinion collectively that they're being mistreated. Now, why is it that we've seen an increase of this? Why don't you guys share your comments? Why you think the number of people unhappy and the number of claims filed increased? our company, LinkedField's fundraising journey. So this is part 2 of that. If you missed part 1, go back and check out that post on LinkedIn. I'll link it down here too, where I basically talked about how fundraising was very different than running a construction project. Part 2, I kind of get it into a little bit deeper how it's different from construction. I also highlight some of the similarities and basically how I leverage my experience as a construction project manager running, construction projects for 15 years, how I was able to leverage some of those skills that are transferable to fundraising. That's part 2. Now, I already have an idea for part 3. If you're interested, just make sure you sign up for a newsletter. Part 3 is looking at which of my construction project management skills transfer to running a construction technology company, a startup. Oh my God, I got to really change a lot of things.